I'm Alex Weathersby, and this is my web series review of Brains. Brains is a vlog mockumentary-style web series about college student Allison's quest for love in the middle of the zombie apocalypse. Some elements of this web series that I really liked was the fact that although this was a post-zombie apocalypse series, it was still a comedy. A lot of apocalyptic shows like The Walking Dead or web series like H+ tend to be very dark and really focus on a very negative outlook of humanity, so I really liked that this was kind of like a romantic comedy where she's still motivated by the fact that humanity is dying off and there's a zombie problem on her college campus. I really liked that this was kind of a new take on a pretty well-saturated concept by this point. I also felt like setting the web series at a college was a really smart move. All of these college students are sort of trapped together and they all have to work as a group, students and faculty, in order to protect the campus from the zombie outbreak. I really liked that having the college setting created a lot more layers to the traditional college anxiety of what am I doing with my future? Obviously that changes a lot when you don't even know if you have a future, and also if your future is a lot more survival focused than maybe most college students is. I also felt like the setting it at a college also really had an extra emotional pull. So many college students and web series that center on college students focus specifically on how serious it is to be finally put in a position to reach your dreams and how painful it is if you might not reach that, and the consequences and the risks and just that pressure. So I think it was a really nice parallel between the usual anxieties and stresses over what is my future going to be like if I go to this school versus what is my future going to be like when the whole world outside of this place is completely overrun with a very serious, dangerous problem. I also felt that doing the web series as a vlog was a really great choice, and I liked the inclusion of neurobiology and psychology into the dialogue. The benefit of vlog-style series really is more of a realism. That's why mockumentary also tends to cross over with vlog. The reason for the outbreak and the science behind the zombie outbreak seem really real. I feel like that came off much better in a vlog style series than it may have in a TV style series. So yeah, thought that was a good choice. Some things that could have been done better with this web series, like many other web series that I've watched, there was a severe lack of LGBTQ+ characters, so that's definitely a frustration. I also would have really liked to see more of Allison talking about her family, her hopes, and her dreams. It's definitely presented that the reason Allison vlogs so much is because it's sort of her way of distancing herself from her problems and her feelings and her own lack of knowing what the future is going to be like. But I feel like I really would have benefited as a viewer from knowing more of what does she want to do? What was her hopes and dreams that were maybe dashed by this apocalypse? We get lots of that from the other characters. We see how so many of them have been changed by this outbreak. So many of them may never get the chance to do what they originally came to college to do. And I feel it would have been a really big benefit to see the same glimpses from Allison. The main thing that we know about Allison and her main motivation for doing the vlogs, the sort of central plot around the series, is her quest to find a boyfriend in the zombie apocalypse, and specifically the type of person that she's looking for. And so I think it would have been really nice to kind of delve deeper into why she has certain beliefs and certain expectations for a relationship, and so I would have liked to see more of her backstory, I guess, is a good summation of all that. I didn't really like the love triangle in season 2. Love triangles, I feel like, are very difficult to do well, especially when you're limited on time, you're limited on characters who can appear on screen, and it's just a very well-known rom-com cliche to have the red herring love interest or anything like that. So I felt like the season 2 love triangle was maybe not necessary, especially considering all of the emotional strife between Allison and her current romantic partner at the time. They already had so much struggling based on their different expectations for the relationship and based on just who they were as people. So I felt that the love triangle and the jealousy was not really necessary, especially considering that we don't really get to know her other love interest in season 2 very well. I just felt like it was more of a distraction than anything, and there were other narrative paths that could have been taken that would have served the same purpose. I would watch the series if you're really into supernatural themes. The series definitely does a really good job with special effects, makeup, and just the general setting and vibe of the series. Definitely seems like they worked very hard to make the zombification issue seem legitimate. So this is definitely a very well thought out series in that respect, especially if you like zombie series and maybe you're looking for something that's a little more lighthearted than like The Walking Dead, then I would definitely suggest the series for you. If you prefer original series to literary based or literary inspired series, this would be a really good web series for you. Benefit of original series is that you don't know all the plot points and you don't know how it's going to end, so there tends to be more suspense with an original series and plot twists can be a little more heavy hitting. So if you're really into those aspects of an original series, this would be a really good one for you to watch. And if you really like series that are set in college with maybe a little bit of a twist, this would be a really good web series for you, especially in the sense of series like Carmilla was probably one of the most popular series that were set like this. So you have a very zany mix of very relatable concerns mixed with problems and concerns that I would hope you all are dealing with. Very sorry that you're experiencing that. I would skip this series if you're squeamish. There is a very science-based foundation to this series, so there's definitely a lot of medical experimentation. There are some discussions about whether the zombies are human beings or not. Specifically, there are types of zombies where they have not turned per se, but they are not functional humans in the same sense. These zombies eat animal brains instead of human brains, so they still have empathy, of emotion, they think and act and look like normal human beings, but they are undead. So there's a lot of discussions about whether they are really citizens, or if they're really people, if they still deserve empathy, and those might be a little triggering for some people. There's an episode where they have one of these undead zombies eat a animal brain to test out what types of brains are most beneficial. So again, if you're very squeamish and you're not really into seeing portrayals of that sort of thing on screen, then I would maybe skip this series. If you would prefer to see perspectives of the zombie apocalypse, maybe from the perspective of the zombies themselves instead of survivors, especially since zombie apocalypse or just apocalypse in general series were very big for a few years. That was definitely a very saturated market. So you might be a little exhausted of that, and if that's the case, then you might want to skip this series and look into some other type of supernatural web series. Or if you want a darker take, like the more traditional web series H+, which definitely takes a darker look at a supernatural web series, something that's science fiction-y that maybe goes a little deeper. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have a recommendation for a web series for me, you can always go to my Tumblr or recommend it in the comments here. And have a good rest of your day.